How you doing, guys? Kyle here with another NeverKey update. This is a big one. I've actually started using this car piece. This is like a panel that sits in front of the driver to mock up and test the starting, stopping, and otherwise functionality. We've got the fingerprint reader here, which we'll go over. So, at the moment, what you're looking at is obviously a heavy prototype. This will be turned into a nice PCB, such as the testing PCB I made that you're seeing there. But effectively I'll run you through the process, or what I'm thinking anyway. So these lights will be off by default before you've authenticated. You'll get into the vehicle, you'll touch the fingerprint reader, and as you can see when I touch it, I've just made it so it lights up for now. I haven't actually implemented anything further for the fingerprint side. But you would authenticate with your fingerprint, and then you'd get this set of buttons. So start would become enabled with the button lit up green. I'll try to show you. I've actually put labels, so start, stop, on or ignition, and accessory. So yeah, pretty much explains itself, but start will start the engine, and obviously the light changes to stop now that the engine's running. And yep, when the engine's not running and maybe you just want accessory power, you can push this button, or if you want ignition power, you can push the on button. But maybe you're sitting in a car park, you don't want to have your car running, and you just want access to those power controls like you would have with the key. So that's what those are. And then you'll notice when you start the car, those become deilluminated there, and that's basically because when the car is running, both of those circuits are already active, so you only get the manual option when the car's not running, which is their purpose. And I'll show you the starting sequence controlled by shift registers. So we turn on ignition and accessory power and then crank the engine for a few seconds there. Show you that again. Cool. Yeah, and more on the shift registers. I've got a couple of 74HC 595s for outputs. That's the outputs of the LEDs and the relays. And I've got a 165, I think it is, for inputs of the buttons themselves. So that way I get 18 outputs and yeah, 8 inputs, basically from like just I think it's 3 wires for all the outputs, and then another 3 wires for all the inputs. And I can expand these shift registers into hundreds of buttons if I needed to, but yeah, I don't actually need to go that high, and the shift register that I've just added still has about, I think, 6 or so outputs still available, 7 outputs still available. So yeah, I don't really need to add anything. I just at this point need to continue the code and testing and all that, and then make a PCB for this, get that made, turn this all into PCB form, and continue going. But I need to implement the fingerprint authorization here. I just thought I'd show you the progress, everything hooked up and working, and also whatever action is performed is reflected in the app, smartphone app, and vice versa. So if you start the engine in the app, you'll notice this will change to red. The stop button will be illuminated, excuse me, and yeah, if I stop it here, it will reflect that change in the app as well, and same for pretty much everything. So everything is two-way, which is super cool. It means you won't be, you know, starting the car from your smartphone app, sitting inside the car to see the green start LED lit. It doesn't make sense. You want to have consistency between the app and the physical buttons, so thankfully that is all implemented and working, although I'm recording on my smartphone, so I'll have to demonstrate that two-way app communication at a later point. And yes, this rig is resting on my rubbish bin because I have very little room everywhere else at the moment, so yeah, thanks for sticking around and watching this update video. We're getting closer to, putting things in an actual car and finally testing a driving experience without keys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.